Forward progress has stopped.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
Welcome to Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast on 312 Sports. Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola, here to talk Bears and more as they get set to take on the San Francisco 49ers out at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. And joining us now, somebody who knows more than a thing or two about his favorite team, the Niners, and the NFL, would be Matt Miller. You can find him on socials at NFL Draft Scout and find his voluminous work of college scouting and NFL coverage at ESPN, ESPN.com. And he is with us as he has been for the last few weeks. Matt, how are you?
Doing well. Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you had a nice couple days with the family, but I'm ready for some football, as they used to say on Monday nights. I'm very, very excited for this one.
Well, were you able to watch any football yesterday?
I could have. I didn't want to. I'm going to be honest. Those games just didn't really move the needle for me. You know, Max Brosmer. It's just, I mean, I will have to go back and watch those games, obviously, but I opted to spend the time away from I don't know if I turned my TV on yesterday. I just wanted to spend time with the family and not do the football thing for a day. So I'll get caught up on the game film eventually.
Good for you. Tell me when you watched that Lions-Vikings game. My first thought coming away from it, and I didn't sit there and chart it or anything, but it does not look like a Dan Campbell coach team. He's got his nose in the call sheet. He looks 30 years older than he did last year. They're just not playing the same. They're the walking back to the huddle. The overall intensity does not reflect a Dan Campbell coach team for whatever reason. I want you to put that thesis to the test when you watch.
I got you. I will say I've noticed that earlier this year. It feels like a team that had a really long season last year. They just seem tired. And I think we've seen that with other teams. I don't think it's unique to the Lions. I don't think it's unique to Dan Campbell. We've certainly seen that. I even think at times last year we saw that with Kansas City. But then they turned it on. They got into the playoffs and they were able to turn it on. You know, you see some of the older guys get healthy down the stretch. I think for the Lions this year, at least my interpretation of it has been, gosh, that's a team that had a long season. You lose two coordinators. That's hard as is, you know, to play as late as they did and then lose some coaches. So I think the NFL is better when there are high octane offenses like theirs has been. So hopefully they bounce back strong. The NFC North next year could be the best division of football really, really quickly.
So it's been almost a week, Matt, since we have enjoyed and celebrated the Bears' improbable win over the Green Bay Packers. We haven't talked with you yet about it. Yeah. What did you take away from that game, and what was your reaction as it was happening in real time?
My reaction is that Caleb Williams has the talent to be the best quarterback in the NFL. And I know there's been moments when you work in the media in Chicago or when you're a Bears fan, you live under that microscope of evaluating every single throw. And it becomes tiresome. And it's something even in my profession that we get stuck doing sometimes is we over-evaluate guys. And you live and die by the first 15 plays instead of, well, let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see who wins this game or how a player develops over the course of 60 minutes or a season even. And I think that's what we're seeing with Caleb right now is where a month ago or 6 weeks ago, it was, the passing game's stagnant. You're kind of running to win instead of playing a balanced offense. Now you're winning games against your hated division rival because your quarterback made two throws that I would put up against any throw any quarterback in the NFL has made. You take the best two throws from Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whoever. Caleb Williams last week, those two throws are going to go head-to-head with almost any of those. And not just because of the plays that the receivers made on the ball, but because of his vision, his arm strength, the ability to move and extend the play, to open up those passing windows. We're seeing it happen. We're seeing it come together. All the tools that he had at USC, all the tools he had even back at Oklahoma, some of the flashes we saw last year, it's happening, and it's been pretty cool to watch.
Who's the team to beat in the NFC?
it's San Francisco. And I'm not saying that as somebody that grew up a Niners fan. That absolute beatdown of the Colts on Monday night. And I understand like the Colts are on Phillip Rivers is playing quarterback. And he's 2 years older than me, right? I understand that. But that was a beatdown. And this is a team that is routinely winning by double digits, which just doesn't happen in the NFL. To be on the streak that they're on of winning by double digits. And they're not even healthy and they're still playing well. And I think that's a testament to how great Christian McCaffrey is. It's a testament to the job Robert Saleh is doing as a defensive coordinator this year, that you can lose Nick Bosa and you still are stopping people in the red zone at a clip that's not really, I don't think anyone's keeping up with. So I think they are the team to beat. I mean, Philly, the experience that Philly has is going to be key in the playoffs. The Rams are a really good team. The Bears are a really good team. I don't know that I believe in anyone in the South right now. I think they're kind of cannibalizing each other, but I think, man, it's tough not to pick San Francisco right now.
And looking at San Francisco and Brock Purdy, what has been your evaluation of Brock Purdy? What kind of NFL quarterback is he? I've always had a hard time the last few years in just buying in of Brock Purdy as a winning quarterback, despite the fact that they win and he goes to the playoffs and he leads them. Like, what is he?
I'm going to write down. Good. Before he answers, I'm writing down a phrase that I want to see what Matt says. I want to see if it is descriptive of what I'm writing down.
So Brock Purdy is an elite point guard. That's what he is. He is very good at running the offense. He's very good at making the right decisions, getting the team in the right protections, making the right checks, pre and post snap. And he's a distributor. What we've seen lately, though, is that he's making plays with his legs because defenses are trying to take away Christian McCaffrey. They're trying to take away some of the deep ball. And so it's opening up some things. Now, he's never going to be Lamar Jackson. He's never going to be Josh Allen. But he is moving really well this year to make some plays. So, I think if we had to make a list of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL this year, I don't know that we would put Brock on that list. It hurts his case that Mac Jones played so well when he was out, right? But, man, if the job of a quarterback is to win games, it's what he does. It's like all he does is win, and it's hard to discount that.
I wrote down highest end possible game manager.
And I think point guard and game manager are similar, Dan. I do. I don't know that he would have this success outside of Kyle Shanahan or outside of Sean McVay. And that's okay though, right? It's okay to be really, really good at running a system and to be maybe the best at running that system and to understand your weaknesses and say, you know what, I'm not going to try to break outside the mold of what my coach has asked me to do. I'm just going to run the damn play at the highest level possible. And we're going to win 11 or 12 games every year because of it.
It's just an immense credit to Kyle Shanahan, and it really all reflects on him. I think for people trying to understand what a Ben Johnson offense is trying to do, with the way Shanahan incorporates motion, the way that he has the way he uses formations to make sure he's avoiding being predictive, and just the idea of the play will tell you where the ball goes. The properly executed play will mean the ball's supposed to go somewhere. And that all makes sense in that world. I'm not asking for Caleb Williams to become Brock Purdy because he's too special. There are things he can do off of script and completely on his own that only he sees. That my goal is that he and Ben Johnson elevate each other's visions.
No, you're right. And I think we're seeing that across the league right now. You have I don't mean this in a derogatory way. You kind of have the backyard football teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, where, hey, my quarterback is superhuman. He's just going to go win us games. It's like the Bulls. You got Michael Jordan, just let him shoot the ball, right? And then you have the teams that are more formulaic, and it is more the scheme is so good and the quarterback is so good at running it that you can win a lot of football games that way. And I think San Francisco and the Rams are in that category of you have quarterbacks who are elite at running these schemes, and the coaches are smart enough to adapt to what the players do well. And I think for San Francisco, what you are going to see this weekend is a team that will try to get their players in isolation. They're going to try to get their playmakers the ball in space, and we'll see if Kittle plays or not. But they are so good at whether it be by motion or by route concepts or play action, at getting their offensive playmakers in space where they're so good after the catch. And it's frustrating how good they are after the catch for other teams. But that's what that scheme does. And it's beautifully simple.
When you look at that Packers loss to the Bears last Saturday, and then the week before they lose in Denver, going into their last two games of the regular season, the Ravens, and then what are they, the Vikings, I think, or the Lions? No, Lions of Bears. Green Bay is definitely playing the Ravens. I can't remember their Week 18 matchup, but what can a loss like that Bears loss do to a team? They're in the playoffs now, but what can that do to them going into a playoff run?
Well, I think it can go a couple of ways. I think it can either galvanize you and say, okay, we were close and we're still reeling from losing Micah Parsons. This is a team that I've said this for years. It's not always who the best team is. It's who the best healthy team is at the end, and Green Bay is a team that has a lot of injuries right now. Josh Jacobs is such a huge part of what they do, and he's been banged up. Obviously, you lose Micah Parsons. That's, your entire defensive identity is now gone. And so I think losing to Chicago, it can galvanize you. It could put a chip on your shoulder to say, okay, we're going to have to fight our way through the playoffs. If we're going to get there, we're going to go from the 6 or 7 seed all the way through. I still think Jordan Love is playing really good football right now, and Chicago did a good job of limiting him. But I would think that, if you're waking up this week as a Packers fan, you're probably thinking, okay, we're going to go as far as Jordan can take us. It's all on his back, basically, to try to get this done.
Yeah, they host the Ravens, and then they play at Minnesota. So it's going to be a tough matchup with the Ravens. And then, maybe Minnesota shows up like they showed up last night defensively, and, they create 6 turnovers again.
Right. I mean, it's amazing to me, and I hope maybe this changes. Brian Flores should be a head coach in the NFL. Like, it's wild the job that he's done. And doing it, like, the Vikings have some good defensive players. This is not a team that spent $100 million on defense. Like, this is a damn good coaching job that he's doing. A really good job developing players. And, whatever we want to say about Dan Campbell and the Lions feeling like they're just fatigued, that Vikings defense is phenomenal. If they could do anything on offense at all, we would be talking about a pretty scary team.
Well, let me ask you this then. If you think Flores should have that top job again, I believe it was Tua who came out and said that it wasn't the tactics, it wasn't the X's and O's, it was the bedside manner, it was the demeanor, it was just how difficult he was to work with. So what does it mean? Usually coaches can learn from their mistakes and they can take criticism and they can moderate their behavior. However, Tua sucks. And it's possible that Flores was just like, stop sucking, and doing his best to get something out of him. How does what's happened since change the way we think about Flores's next opportunity?
I think it definitely changes the perception of him. If you are to believe that, he didn't handle Tua the right way, or that he didn't, because I do think your job as a coach is to find out how to motivate your players, especially your quarterback. You have to build that relationship. If Flores wasn't good at that, I do think we can revise that history a little bit now and say, okay, maybe it's a little bit more 50-50 than it was all the fact that Flores wasn't putting the kid gloves on. Maybe he was frustrated by Tua's play or lack of preparation or whatever it might be. I always find it interesting when only one side of the story hits the media. We haven't heard Brian Flores' side of that, where it might be, I got pissed off because my quarterback was, throwing picks, or because my quarterback, doesn't have the arm strength to execute the offense the way we want, or, because my quarterback is a player that's often injured and is, maybe not protecting himself on the field the right way. So I do think, I don't want to say anyone was justified in that, but I think you can at least maybe connect more dots now and say, like, okay, maybe this doesn't make Brian Flores look as bad as it did 3 or 4 years ago.
I want to jump into some college football talk too, because we haven't had a chance to talk since the playoffs started. Saw a nice win for Alabama over Oklahoma, and then Dan's Tulane team gets beat. James Madison gets beat. What was your take on those first few games you saw?
That Notre Dame and Texas should have been in the playoffs. I mean, I don't understand it. And I know we talked about this before. Mm-hmm. This is not March Madness. This is not Lehigh is not going to make a run in the college football playoffs, guys. It's just not going to happen, right? It's not 5 seniors who've been playing together for 5 years are going to, unseat, a Michigan team with 5 freshmen because experience matters more in basketball. And I feel like that's what the committee was trying to go for, was the Cinderella story of James Madison or Tulane, and they got rocked. And I mean, the Tulane score looks a lot better than the game was. The same with James Madison. James Madison at halftime, that game was over, right? And so I just think if the committee's going to be legitimate, stop doing this. And I say this, Notre Dame should have been in, Texas should have been in. Texas beat Oklahoma. Texas beat Texas A&M. They were both, and they both, got bounced. So it's wild to me that we're not saying 12 best teams in college football, not best metrics or best win-loss record. Just put the 12 best teams in college football out there and let them fight it out. Because could you imagine this upcoming weekend if those teams have been tested a little bit more? If I don't know that Alabama beats Notre Dame or Texas. I don't know that we see that happen. I don't know that Ole Miss beats Notre Dame or Texas. And so now we kind of got some untested groups out there, but man, I'm excited for it because I do think we're getting better scouting matchups, which is what matters most to me. Mm-hmm. So we are going to, get closer to some of those best versus best. I don't feel like watching, Dante Moore against James Madison gives me a whole lot to work with as an NFL talent evaluator. So hopefully this weekend's a little bit better.
The Kansas City Chiefs are moving to Kansas. And I say good for Missouri. Good for you in Missouri. Well done. Because despite all of their success and their popularity, that was a bad deal for taxpayers. And the one for Kansas taxpayers is worse. I couldn't believe that. If you follow J.C. Bradbury or any of these other expert sports stadium economists, this is an all-time sellout of taxpayers, and they're lying about where the money is coming from, and they're saying, well, there's no new taxes, and they keep saying no new taxes, and that's because it's all diverting money that would have found its way elsewhere to help people and help the roads and healthcare and schools and everything that's important. And this is all being diverted to make the owners of the Chiefs wealthier at the expense of people in Kansas. And I understand why the Chiefs jumped at this deal, but I would say to you and the others in Missouri who voted them away, you're going to be happy for it.
$3 billion is a lot of money. No matter how you slice it, no matter where it comes from, it's a lot of money. I will tell you this. I live about 10 miles from the Kansas border. And when the news came out that the Chiefs were moving, I obviously, because we work in sports media, I knew before it was announced. So I texted some of my friends, was like, hey, there's a press conference today. The Chiefs are moving to Kansas. And I can't tell you how many people I know who've told me, I'm not going to be a Chiefs fan anymore because they're moving from Missouri to Kansas and because they're chasing the money of what the infrastructure is going to be.
They're all lying. All those people are lying.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, I haven't seen any Chiefs stuff on, hit the internet for sale yet. But I will say this past weekend, and I know a lot of it's because Mahomes is out because of the playoffs weren't a factor. I've never seen more Chiefs tickets be given away, though. I mean, everyone I know who has Chiefs season tickets gave the tickets away. And some of it, maybe it's Christmas Day, maybe it's Mahomes wasn't playing, but I know people are upset. And I don't, because I live on this side of the line, I don't know what the politics of this situation are with Kansas, but I know $3 billion is a lot of money. I will just say this, though. The Kansas City, Missouri folks have had my entire lifetime to build up the area around the Chiefs and the Royal stadiums because they're in the same parking lot as the Truman Sports Complex. They've had since the 70s, so longer than I've been alive, to build up something over there, and they have not. It is a desolate part of Kansas City. There are no hotels. There are no restaurants. It is a sea of concrete where you can park your car and smoke some ribs for 7 hours before a football game. There is absolutely nothing to do. When people ask me, hey, I'm coming to Kansas City for a game, where should I stay close to the stadium? You can't. You have to stay in downtown or in Kansas. And you can't really Uber to the stadium. There is no public transportation. If you do not own a car, you are not going to a Chiefs game or a Royals game because it is so far from where you would need to be able to stay. There's no activities pre or post game that you can do. There used to be at Denny's. It burnt down. They have not replaced it. So I get the, we are socializing stadiums for private wealth. I understand that. And I don't agree with it, but it's happening, and it's happening in every sport and in every city. The infrastructure for fans will be 1,000,000 times better, maybe 3 billion times better, actually, once they move to the Kansas side, because you could actually stay in a hotel and be close to the stadium, which is something that you cannot do right now. So things will be significantly better. And I think mile-wise, it's about the same from downtown Kansas City as it is right now. It's just you got to drive west instead of east, and that really pisses people off, apparently.
Hey, for scouting purposes, what do you have your eye on this weekend? Something that we might want to put on our list.
Yeah, I mean, I do think we're still trying to figure out who these quarterbacks are. There is some conversation in the league right now about is it Fernando Mendoza? Is he the runaway, from Indiana? He's going to get a pretty good test against Alabama this weekend. Alabama has some legit players, especially in the secondary. I think they might have the best safety duo in college football. So that's going to be a big one. And then we get Dante Moore, Oregon, against the best defensive line of college football with Texas Tech. I mean, Tech's front seven is crazy. And David Bailey is probably going to be a top 15 pick. And Jacob Rodriguez is the best linebacker in college football right now. That is going to be a really, really good test for Dante Moore. So I think that's like the big thing that I'm watching. Miami, Ohio State should be good. It's funny, guys, last week, and I know this is like super in the weeds, last week before Miami played Texas A&M, this report comes out that Ruben Bain has shorter arm length than you would like as a prospect. And it's, it's that time of year. Then Ruben Bain goes out and it puts on a freaking clinic against Texas A&M. So I hope that he is, also motivated this weekend. But the Miami offensive line is good. Their right tackle has a shot to be a top 10 pick. So seeing them go against Ohio State is going to be really, really interesting to see if that Ohio State pass rush, which has some very good players up front, if they can get to Carson Beck, because he struggles when the pocket gets muddy. But I think if you're looking for a potential upset, and like Ohio State looked infallible until they ran into Indiana, and I think Miami can do a lot of the same things that Indiana did.
And lastly, what do you think of the fact that Michigan reportedly is now focusing in on Utah's Kyle Whittingham, the 66-year-old? Joked about it, said it looks like he's entering the transfer portal. It could be as soon as later Friday that gets done. Good move?
I think so. A good move, especially to get away from all the drama and controversy from the Harbaugh, Stallions, Moore era. You want to go no nonsense, right? You almost overcorrect a little bit. Mm-hmm. This would be a proper overcorrection of somebody who's been a no nonsense guy, never any drama, no scandals, just built solid, tough football teams routinely at Utah. So is it a super glamorous hire that's going to, get the NIL money flowing in? Probably not, but he's 66 years old. If he can come in and provide some consistency and a foundation for the program, I think that can get them back, on the right footing. And then, who knows, maybe he can build something and have a 5-year plan to get Michigan to where they're just to where their coaches aren't being suspended for games would be a huge improvement for them. Actually, if we could just get there.
That was my thought as well. That this is a cleanup.
Without a doubt.
This is a cleanup guy.
Yeah, it's like when the Bears hired John Fox, it was like, let's just get back to NFL football.
Yeah,
now, he didn't quite want to work when he was here, but it was still the whole idea behind it. Hey, are you two still doing your Niners Bears bet where it's deep dish pizza for ribs? Is that the bet you two are doing?
I don't remember what we're doing. We're doing something. I think I wanted pastrami, if I remember right.
Oh, that's right. It was pastrami and ribs. That's right.
You know what? I'll talk to my guys at Joe's in Kansas City. I will have them send you a box of barbecue if the Bears win.
And then Dan will send you pastrami and
I don't know whatever dealer's choice.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah. I heard something about steaks at one point. I do. I'm blessed. Like we all live like in the heartland. It's tough to beat a good steak in this part of the country. I haven't been to Chicago in a little while, and I definitely miss the steakhouses. So
yeah, but come on, Kansas City literally has a cut named
Yeah, we have
after
our own
it.
strip. Yeah,
Right.
it's
The
good.
bone-in strip is known as the Kansas
Yeah.
City cut. So
I don't. It's tough. We need to do like a summer steak review. I'll come there.
I'm
You
in.
guys come here.
Yeah,
and
for
we'll-
sure.
we'll do it.
100%.
I'm in. We could find partners for that.
Yeah.
Matt Miller, thank you as always. Merry Christmas, and will we talk before the new year? No, I don't think so. So happy, healthy.
All right, buddy.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Enjoy the weekend.
That is Matt Miller of ESPN, and you can follow his work socials at NFL Draft Scout. Did you see the DK Metcalf aftermath?
Yeah, dude. I was talking about it with family, over the last couple of days, and it's just, first of all, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Well, I thought the whole story kind of sucks. I think every aspect it's disappointing all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
I think to have a fan who's a known troll
Mm-hmm.
targeting a player just because sucks. I think DK Metcalf's physical reaction, 100% wrong, cannot happen. I think that sucks. I also think that the voiding of $40 million worth of guarantees due to this sucks. And now, as of today, the fan is holding a press conference with a lawyer announcing the civil suit, and they're not allowing reporters on the Zoom to have questions, and there's handpicked reporters there. All of that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Every bit of it as a statement about fandom and where we are is, and I hope that the reaction and what will be the overreaction doesn't make football worse and doesn't make the relationship between fans and players worse. I just find the entire thing gross, and I wish it hadn't happened.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said there. But DK Metcalf, he needs to know better, man. You can't, like, you're in the
100%.
middle of a game. There's a game going on. Like, what are you doing, dude?
As
Like,
somebody,
what are you doing?
As somebody who fell for a troll, as somebody, I have personal experience with this. As somebody who took the bait and should have known better, absolutely should have known better, and faced life-changing consequences because of it. Sometimes I would say, there, but for the grace of God, we got. I went there. I was there, and I think that's why part of me empathizes a little bit, that sometimes you don't even know when it's going to happen, and you don't know why it is. And at least, in my situation, I realized long after the fact, taking the time to unwind it, as I've spoken about, knowing how much else went into it and why it was this thing at this time that happened to be. And I don't know if there's something similar. I'm not presuming there's anything like that with DK Metcalf, but it made me feel bad and kind of ashamed all over again. Mm-hmm. So it really did hit home with me to see it. It wasn't on Twitter. It wasn't virtual. It was an actual swipe. But it was very similar.
I totally understand what you're saying. And if Metcalf had turned and yelled something, like, I get it. This guy's a professional troll going after him, targeting him. He doesn't. It sounds like he has a questionable character. If that's the purpose for you going to a game or what you want to do online with your time. But if he would have yelled something back at him, or I understand that happens all the time.
Or just smiled at him.
Yeah, but even if you wanted to be an asshole back to him, like, I get that, and we've seen that a lot in sports. Mm-hmm. But to deliberately walk over and then take a swipe is just, man, like, what are you doing in the middle of a game? Like, and I'm not in his shoes. I'm not hearing what he was hearing. I'm not feeling whatever he was feeling. But dude, you're a professional football player. Like, go on the sideline, watch your game. Who cares about this guy? But I guess easier to say. It's easy for me to say. I'm not in the experience of it all. But dude, I mean, like, losing $40 million over this guy.
He may not lose at all, but to open the possibility of losing it, he had it. That
Or
was
losing
guaran-
any. Or losing
yeah,
any.
or any of it. That was guaranteed.
Yeah, it does suck.
That was guaranteed. I mean, then you start to think, if a team wanted to move on, now it makes it easier to
Right.
do that. And
You open up that door for them to walk through it. And, this guy's 15 minutes will run out, and, it's the clock's ticking now, and it'll pass. And he's still going to have opportunities to play football if he wants to play, obviously, beyond this year, which
Sure.
I don't think he's not going to play. But to do that to yourself and lose money, if he does end up losing any kind of money, is just it's a shame, and it's too bad. And hopefully it's something he can look back at and say, you know what, whether it's $5 million or $20 million or all of it, he can go, shit, that was really stupid, and hopefully it's nothing that happens again for his own professional career.
before we finish up, I wanted to at least raise the conversation starting now about how Ben Johnson and the Bears handle whatever competitive aspects there are of these remaining 2 games. And I have to tell you that my expectation is, from based on everything I've read and everything that's been said, that until and unless they have the number 1 seed, or they're incapable of getting the number 1 seed. Once the playoff positions are locked in, I expect the Bears' best players to play, and expect everybody to do everything they can do, as they've been doing, to win every possession.
Yeah, I agree. So the where are we at here? The Bears at 11-4 and the Packers at 9-5-1. So obviously the division's not settled yet.
Correct.
Packers have to win both games. Bears would have to lose both games. And so you're going to San Francisco. You're hosting Detroit. Green Bay is hosting the Ravens and then going to Minnesota. Yeah, I mean, Ben Johnson laid it out. He said our first goal was 11 wins, because 11 wins pretty much get you in, because 10 last year, Seattle didn't get in. So we want to get to 11 wins, want to win the division, to host at least one playoff game, and then do what it takes to become the number 1 seed.
Yep.
So, you can easily take care of that by winning Sunday, and then you can worry about Week 18, because Week 18 won't matter for the division if you win and get to 12 wins. Niners or the Packers can't do that. So win Sunday and let that take care of it. Then you can figure out what you want to do to plan for Week 18. But if the Niners give you a game or they beat you, you're going to have to play Week 18 to win. If the Packers can beat the Ravens as well.
Yeah, I think the Bears are in tough this week. I think the travel out there against a team that, at least offensively, appears to be peaking at the moment. Tell me if this is crazy, but I want this game, if it's going to expose the weaknesses that would prevent the Bears from winning the Super Bowl, I want them to see it clearly enough to know how they want to correct it, if they don't see it yet.
Mm-hmm.
This coaching staff may see it. This coaching staff may not need anything illustrated to them. But I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world to use this and say, all right, to test our mettle a little bit and say, all right, we're still not championship material because of this, this, and this, and this. Whether there's anything tactically, anything where around the margins you can do things personnel-wise, schematically, at least know it for sure. Don't be guessing at any of your deficiencies before the playoffs start. It may, regardless of outcome, and I guess that's a long way of saying that regardless of outcome, I want Sunday night to make the Bears more likely to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the deficiencies that we've talked about and listed out both individually and then here for the show, the Bears coaching staff knows that. They know. I mean, they know better than we do, obviously, what's going to prevent them from winning a championship. My only thing is they're not I don't think, at least, that they're looking at that big picture just yet, because Ben Johnson is looking at the 49ers and the 49ers only. He's looking at how do we win this game. I mean, they've talked about all year long. We've heard Caleb say it over and over, and that's not coming from Caleb. It's coming from the top about we got to go 1-0 this week, and that's all they focus on. So I think he approaches it one step at a time, where his goal right now is what do we need to do to beat the 49ers? Then it's going to be what do we need to do to beat the Lions? And then when the playoffs start, it's going to be what do we need to do to beat the Packers if it's, that's the first game, if we're the 2 seed, they're the 7 seed. I'm not sure when he starts looking at and saying, what are the deficiencies or what do we need to do to be a champion? I'm not sure he even does that until they get to that actual point in the playoff run.
Well, let me give you an example, I guess, and it'll be more specific. If you know, and I think we're all agreeing on what we're not saying here. I think the tenor of our discussions and the substance of it has been an understanding that the front four isn't generating enough pressure on the quarterback and isn't involved enough in stopping the run game, that the deficiencies on this team start with Booker, Dexter, Billings, and Sweat just not being effective enough. The question then is, do you try to supplement that with blitzing, with run blitzes, with using extra people in pressure packages? Or do you lean into the opposite and say, let's get whatever we can get from them and just try to make your life hell in coverage? And we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to say, we got to get home. We're going to send extra guys to get home. Maybe occasionally spring it on them here or there. But for the most part, we've got to lock down everything behind that. Our linebackers cannot be fooled by eye candy. Our safeties cannot miss an assignment. We have to be perfect in splits and zones and footwork and communication against motion, etc. And these are the larger picture decisions that come as a function of trying to win the games in the way that you describe.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. And I think, though, given where they're at still in the point of the season, that he's going to, and he has a game plan devised to beat the 49ers, to win.
I agree.
And he's not looking past that to say, what can we learn about our team? Because this game still has significance to it. I think if they win Sunday and they get to 12 wins and they guarantee the division, I think he might use Week 18 to try some different things defensively to see what can they do, what other packages, what combinations of players, what things have we really gotten into significantly on the defensive side to really impact what we do from our pass rush. Now, they're not going to have that opportunity if they don't win Sunday, and then Week 18 is still meaningful. The Packers win, the Packers beat the Ravens. So, yeah, I think for this week and this week alone, it's really all about beating the 49ers, and he's not going to really take the time to try. I appreciate what you're saying, and my brain would say...
You're right,
hey,
though. I think you're being very practical. Mm-hmm. I'm being a little bit more philosophical about it and maybe just projecting my thoughts about it as opposed to what the coaches are actually spending their time talking about and doing. Yeah, no, I get that. There are a couple of decisions, though. And we know that at the moment, TJ Edwards, he was listed as a DNP because of what they're saying is a glute injury. So I don't know where he is there. It looks like Roma Dunze is not going to be back, but Luther Burden is. I'm interested to see if and how DeMarco Jackson may be worked in because of how successful he had been, if they find a way to deploy him as well. The other thing I'm interested in, if Roma Dunze remains out, the choice of is Jade Walker earning a longer look, or are he and Olamide Zaccheaus sort of locked in where they are? Are they going to allow, say, okay, Jade, every time we've given you a little more, maybe in practice, maybe he doesn't know his blocking assignments in the run game or the pass game, which obviates all of this. But there might be some tinkering when it comes to snap counts that could be worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I would think just what they've done with Zaccheaus throughout this year already, that Walker has earned more opportunities to get some more snaps. He certainly has, and he showed that in really big pressure situation last week with that game-tying touchdown. And then it was Zaccheaus with the continual drops throughout the season. You know, that you can't have that. And the only thing that it would prevent him from getting more snaps is just what you mentioned. If he's not showing in practice what they need to see for game day, because Johnson talked about this weeks ago, that the way you practice dictates how much you're part of the game plan. And it's more than just catching and running routes. That's half of it. And if he's not there for the run game, and if he's not executing the blocking scheme that is needed as a wide receiver, he's not going to get those extra snaps.
No, I get it. That's what we don't know.
That's what we do. Yeah, for sure. But you know, on the surface, how could he not get a few more snaps? Like, how could he not? Given what he's done with the very little he's been given, but also more so what Zaccheaus hasn't done with the opportunities, which is more frustrating as a veteran guy.
Well, we are going to be live post-game. It's another late one, but that doesn't stop us. The moment the game ends, you want to tune in to the Forward Progress live YouTube post-game. I believe our last one, we had 2,000 unique viewers at the peak.
Yep.
The people in the chat room and like on the page hanging out before we got there, and it was a big crowd, and we love it. It's you can feel the energy immediately after the game, and win or lose, I do think that as I mentioned before, regardless of outcome, I do think the Bears can get themselves closer to winning a Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a tough one for them, but I can't wait. I think there's a lot of people just kind of getting to the party right now. And I noticed that from the number of people who saw the last Niners game with other things in mind, who had really watched a lot of football throughout the year. And the reaction was, ooh, this Niners team is good. Ooh, boy, this team's good. Did you notice a lot of that? I said, yeah,
for sure.
Where you been? Like the Bears aren't the only team in the NFL. The Seahawks are really good too. So this is not a cakewalk. Nothing has been awarded to them.
Yeah, Brock Purdy had the 5 touchdowns in that last game they played. And there was another team, too, that we had mentioned. It was an opportunity where if you're a Bears fan and you're not an NFL junkie, there was a team that just played, too, that it was a good opportunity for Bears fans to take a peek at. But the 49ers, if that's the first game you watched, sorry. That was the first one. That was right. The first one you got in on.
I'm gonna get excited about these Bears. Let's see who else is in the NFC. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Holy shit was right.
Yep,
that's for sure. But yeah, we will be here live on Forward Progress after the Bears-Niners game concludes, somewhere around 10:30. We'll be here for you, so jump on in. We had people waiting in the chat room before the show even started,
hanging out with each other, making comments.
Yeah, there was like 60 comments before it even started, and
that's
most
okay.
of it was our guy, Government Fromage. He was like real time living the whole. I hate the Bears. I'm done with this team.
And then we could save that. We could go back and grab those. But yeah, if you want to hang out with each other, I guess you can, because Matt is going to put up a forward, like a placeholder that says upcoming, and I guess the chat in there still works before we're even on.
Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll set that up this Sunday right before kickoff. So I'll leave it up the entire game.
Okay.
So if you're out there in this community and you want to watch the game together via the chat room, I'll have it there for you to go. So feel free to take advantage of it.
That's a great idea. So that is going to be on the Forward Progress YouTube page. And all you have to do, I believe that, I don't know if you send out the notification or if Karwowski sends out the notification, but
on the app.
On the app.
Yes, on the app he does.
Okay, so we just got to make sure I'll alert you to when we go on live late, but feel free to jump on YouTube and grab that little spot. Grab your perfect seat in our virtual
like it's
theater.
A parade. It's a parade,
yes.
and you got to get there early for the good spot to see the
call
fire
dibs.
trucks.
Yeah, set your lawn chairs down there and your bike flags or whatever you need. Looking forward to it, and maybe we'll have another Bears win to discuss.
Not maybe.
You're guaranteeing?
Bears are going to win, man.
Here on Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast on 312 Sports.
I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you're thinking Forward Progress. Come on. 10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.